All right, so that's it for the customer profile. Let's talk about the pipeline here. You've probably seen this maybe in literature or in class before. It's also called a funnel because it looks like one. And you've got leads coming in the top of the funnel, which go to suspects, then prospects, then opportunities, then of course, customers out the back end of the funnel. Suspects are where you filter your leads to meet your company profile. Prospects are where you physically engage somebody inside that company and confirm that the buyer profile exists. Opportunities are actively involved in your sales process, and of course, we know what customers are. And the length of time it takes you to go from a suspect to a customer is called your sales cycle. And the sales cycle has these things in between the different sales stages called conversion metrics. And these are very important to understand because these are what you need to understand to debug your sales process. They're also an important factor in sales forecasting, which I'm not going to talk about today. But at the end of the day, if your conversion metrics are not increasing, if those metrics, conversion metrics, are not increasing left to right, you don't have a funnel. You don't have a tight enough filter or enough discipline around how you enable company or prospects, suspects to go to prospects and prospects to go to opportunities. It's all hands on deck inside a company when you're defining your company profile. But once you start selling and you've defined your company profile, you do not want to engage your team. This is a waste of their time because people are not qualified to take your team's time. It's shaped like a funnel because two things are happening here. Triage. You're kicking people out of the funnel because they're not qualified to take your time. And similarly, prospective customers are kicking you out of their lives because they're not interested in your product. So that's what shapes it into a funnel. Ultimately, this is where you want to engage your team. And effective enterprise sales, which I'll get into in a little bit here, is not about being a hero. It's not a one-on-one sale. Once you have a team, it's about orchestrating your team expertise and resources to engage similar resources and expertise within the prospective buyer. The sooner and the better you can engage your team with their team, the more likelihood you're going to generate a sale. So this is a sales funnel. And if you look at a big organization, marketing is responsible for generating the leads and filtering them down to meet your target company profile. And they hand those off to inside salespeople. Inside salespeople, they pound the phone and they get beat up. And then eventually they discover somebody that expresses interest and hands that qualified person over to field sales, which develops the opportunity and then ultimately closes the deal. And field sales can't be burdened by existing customers, so they would hand that relationship, they would transition that relationship to an account manager. So this is a little bit of how you understand how sales and marketing work inside a large organization. And this is actually how you scale and make it from a startup to a scale up to a larger company, because each one of these functions actually requires very specific skill sets and disciplines to do well at its scale. Now, for you as a founder, this whole thing's a lot easier. You get to do everything, so it's a lot easier, but it's important for you to understand that you are managing and executing on multiple functions during the sales process.
Hey, Kent.
Yes.
So a question for you, if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
So here's a question. It actually came across from the YouTube stream How can we convince our partner company that our product is not just good, but needful? A needful product increases sales, wherein a good product is just an option. So do you have a thought on that? Is it possible to convince someone that they need your product, or do you have to define what they need and build something to that?
Well, at the end of the day, I found that startups are much more successful when they build product with the customer, not for the customer. So the most successful startups, in my experience, engage prospective customers day one during the design phase of their product. So you're not designing it for them, you're designing it with them. So I get asked this question all the time from founders, and that is, when should I start selling? And my answer is always the same: yes. Right?
Yeah, absolutely, every day.
Start right away, start engaging the marketplace. If you find yourself trying to convince a prospective customer of the value of your product, you probably didn't engage the marketplace early enough, and you're probably missing the boat, right? Because at the end of the day, if you build it with customers, not for them, there's no mystery as to the value. You're solving a very well-defined concrete need with the customer, and they will buy it from you. So hopefully that answers the question.
I think it's perfect. I'll let you get back to it.
Okay. All right. So sales pipeline, for you, it's a methodology, right? And this methodology helps you define the sequential name steps of your sales process that help you organize and focus and balance your sales activity. Again, suspects are filtered leads that meet your company profile. Prospects are where initial contact confirms that there's interest expressed from the buyer profile, and opportunities are prospects who have qualified and are actively engaged in the decision-making unit and vetting your process. And of course, we know what customers are. There's your conversion metrics. It should increase left to right. If they're not, you are not being disciplined enough or have tight enough criteria in moving the time that you spend with people from left to right in your sales process. These conversion metrics help